Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Unrestricted Sports. Today, we are breaking down the National League of the MLB, and I'm going to hop right into it here. So, in the East, Miami is kind of doing okay. They're at the top of their division at 9-6. Obviously, they missed a lot of games, and obviously the Braves are 13-10 and would be at the top if it wasn't ranked based on average. But that being said, Miami hasn't looked too bad for a team that missed a lot of games. They've been able to hold on to their first place spot now. Will they hold it? I'm not sure, but it's definitely an interesting storyline, and I think they probably will make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they'll hold it. I'll be quick on this because I don't have much to say on the East. I'm sure you have more to say on it. But I think the Marlins, if they truly are contending to win this division, then they really need to pick up wins when Acuna is out because he's injured for at least the next 10 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree with that. So, moving on to the Braves, who are also in the East. They're 13-10, looking pretty good. And then all the other teams are sub-500. The Phillies are sub-500. The Nationals, which completely surprised me. This is sort of like the Red Sox in the AL East, are sub 500 at 8-11, and I'm not sure what's going on with them. I'm really not. It is surprising to me. I don't follow the Nationals as closely as I would like, but I mean, I didn't see anything significant that they lost that would have caught my eye. I just don't know. I don't know how they've dropped so bad. Obviously, it's only 8-11, so they could turn that around, but they're obviously far behind now. They're 3 games behind the Marlins, 3 games behind the Braves. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough road back in, definitely. Moving on to the NL Central, we have the Chicago Cubs still leading in first. I got to give them credit. With the Brewers close behind at 10-10. And St. Louis somehow tied with them for second at 4-4. We'll get to them a little later. And the only thing significant out of Cincinnati or Pittsburgh is that Cincinnati Reds had their next 2 games canceled due to it was only a single positive test, so they're only canceling these games out of abundance of caution. Obviously not great for the Reds, but it's only 2 games that they're going to be missing. Hopefully here they get the test back and it's only one guy who has it and they can continue their playing. With that being said, back to the Cubs and St. Louis. The Cubs now have to play the Cardinals 5 times over 3 days. Is that right, Nolan?
Yeah, which is complete BS.
Let me just preface this by saying that I think that the Cardinals, due to their complete organizational ineptitude, because that's what it takes to have an outbreak that bad for that long for a team. And they clearly were taking the restrictions lax because it wouldn't have been as bad if it was. The Marlins figured it out quicker than the Cardinals did, which surprises me because I always think that the Cardinals being a better organization, I expected more of them. The Cardinals should be handed losses for every game that they missed. It's just ridiculous. I don't care.
Despite unfair claims. However, go ahead.
Cardinals fans will say, and I'm assuming a lot of people who aren't Cardinals fans will say, well, that's not fair. They couldn't play the game because of their own because of a self-inflicted wound. One person being out is a complete accident. Your whole team going down is not.
And now you're screwing over other teams in that division.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cubs have to play. Okay, granted, it's only a 6-game season in a short amount of time, so you're essentially playing a game a day anyways. But the Cubs have to play, I think it is, it's something like, I forget what it is exactly. I just figured it out like an hour and a half ago. But they have to play too many games in not enough days for what it's worth.
Either way, if you want to talk about fairness, what's fair? What do you mean it's not fair? How is it fair that other teams have to cram their schedules now, overload their pitching, tire out their players to make up games with a team that we all know is trash anyway?
And here's my problem with it, specifically with the Cubs, and this is what the Cubs have been struggling with it as of late. I think it's a 3-game slide right now. Not too hot, but the Cubs' depth outside of pitching is, I'll applaud them on it. It's relatively impressive. But Cubs pitching is the opposite of depth. They have 5 guys, 4 starting pitchers who I can say, okay, I think they have the upper hand here majority of the time. But then when it comes to relief pitching, you have very few guys. You have an inconsistent closer in Craig Kimbrell. And to play 5 games and expect solid outcomes is ridiculous. Now, people can say, St. Louis has to play 5 games in 3 days as well. Right, but they could have controlled that situation and prevented that from even happening. It just boggles my mind. I don't see – I'm curious to see how the Cardinals continue to play. I don't foresee it turning into another Marlins situation. Just really, really frustrates me that this whole COVID situation relating to doubleheaders of the sort.
Yeah. So moving on, I guess before we move on, the only positive side is that for your pitching, the doubleheaders this year are reduced to 7 innings to try to reduce that burden, but that is still 7 innings. Moving on to the West, though. This is, again, another very close division. I don't think that it really is a great division, though. The Padres obviously dropped off. They're now 11-12, which, I mean, I kind of expected. I was surprised at how well they were doing at the start of the series, or at the start of the season. So I'm not surprised at all that they've dropped by now. It was an impressive initial run, but I think you have to look at what they were also competing against there. The Diamondbacks are at 11-11, but they have a negative 15-point differential there, so that's a pretty risky zone. You're starting to get to the point of no return there. And then you get to the 2 main competitors for the West here, and that's the Dodgers at 16-7 and the Rockies right behind them at 13-8. And this is pretty close to what I expected. I do think that the Dodgers are going to continue to do well, and I think they're going to win out this division. I think that they're looking to prove themselves this year because there's a lot of stuff that came out, obviously, this offseason about stuff that they had already suspected. They've been called choke artists and all this other stuff. I think that this is really their year to get hot and go far in the playoffs, and I think this might be their best chance to win a World Series. At least, obviously they've had chances in the past, and they've gotten screwed multiple times by cheating. But that being said, I think that they're a very good team. And I think the Rockies are going to make the playoffs as well. I don't think they're going to overtake the Dodgers, but I guess it's possible. It's still relatively early. But that being said, I think the Dodgers have more depth and experience who are going to be able to pull through on that.
Yeah, it's impressive to look at the Dodgers' ability to score runs. I'm pretty sure they're the highest in differential here with 60.
They also are first in runs with 128, first in home runs with 39, slugging percentage is 4th. They have the best ERA average or earned runs average at 2.46. They had the best batting average against at 3rd with 202, and their WHIP is 3rd with 1.04. The only thing they can improve on is their batting average at 14th and their on-base percentage at 11th, and that's still top half of the league.
Yeah.
I mean, this is by far one of the better teams in the MLB right now. And it really speaks to just how screwed over they were by cheating in the past years, because I think those teams were even better, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I think it doesn't happen in the regular season, and I don't want it to happen in the postseason because I want my Cubs to make it out of the NL. But Dodgers-Yankees, I think, would be an incredible series to watch.
Yes, I would like to see that. That would be very interesting. But that being said, the Yankees were also one of the teams that are currently being investigated for also potentially stealing signs. So, I mean, obviously, I don't know if that's the case. If I had to guess, I'd probably say not. I would have to bet against it, but I have to see the evidence once it comes out, once the investigation's concluded. But it seems like every team who was really relevant in the past few years, with the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Astros, and the Dodgers being the fourth, 3 of those 4 have had accusations of sign stealing. 2 of them have been relatively proven. And the third one is still awaiting, and that's the Yankees. The Red Sox, obviously, also were investigated and all that. And I think information was found against them on that as well, if I remember correctly. I think I'm completely blanking on it. But obviously, that's still not a great look for the league that 3 of their top 4 teams were possibly cheating.
Yeah.
But with that being said, that is the end of our National League breakdown video. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.